January is usually a time of new beginnings and new resolutions, but in football it's a time for quick fixes. It's a time when teams try to correct, fortify or tweak things in their squad. Every team, both great and small, surely has use for the January window, but what every team needs to do differs from one another. Today, we'll be attempting to give some advice to some of your favourite teams based on what we've seen from them this season and in the recent past. This is one big issue your favourite team must address in January. Disclaimer, this is a bit of a roast, so don't take it personal, guys. Let's start with Chelsea. They need to take some anger management and behavioural psychology classes because they've had way too many bookings in the first half of the season. Even their coach has been sent off. For a club trying to win trophies, this is surely not great for their aspirations. For example, their best player this season, Moises Caicedo, picked up a red card against Arsenal, forcing him to miss 3 games, and Chelsea went on to drop points in 2 of those 3 games. You get a feeling like things might have been different in those games if he was there. Also, you can say that it was the red cards Chelsea picked up against Man United and Brighton that made them lose those 2 games, so you could really make the argument that the Blues would have been in a much better place right now if they were more disciplined. If they really want to make something in the second half of their season, they must make sure to put a permanent stop to the incessant bookings. On the other side of London, Arsenal might need to just change their medical team. Last season, we all said they needed to have a bigger squad. Now they have it, and every part of that large squad seems to still be crumbling. Since the start of the 2024-25 season, the Gunners have suffered 100 different injury setbacks. That's just insane. At some point, it can no longer be termed bad luck. Something is not being done right. I mean, Arsenal have about 7 top defenders right now, but almost every single one of them have fallen to injuries at one point or the other this season. At this moment, Gabriel, Mosquera and White are out injured. Elsewhere, Havertz and the young Dauman are injured, and the likes of Odegaard, Saka, Gabriel Jesus, Gyökeres, Saliba, Trossard and even Rice have also all been out with injuries at one point or the other this season. This was said to be the reason they missed out on the league last season. They just cannot let it be the reason they miss out on the title once again this season. Thierry Henry once said that when your players keep falling to muscle injuries, it's no longer misfortune, but now a problem of the staff. And well, we're inclined to listen to one of the best to ever do it. So, Arsenal surely have to look into that. Man City, meanwhile, have to solve 2 connected issues. They need to get a striker and a defensive midfielder in the January window, just so they don't kill the ones they have. City's dependence on Haaland is no longer news. If anything happens to him right now, their season might be over. But considering the team seems to have already gotten used to playing with him, they might need to get a striker who's a very similar profile, so whenever he's away, they won't feel his absence too much. They also need to get a new DM. Nico was brought in to be the backup, but he's now being run into the ground as there's nobody else to deputise. Rodri and Kovacic seem to never want to recover from their injuries, so Man City might just need to start looking ahead. Yeah, Rodri will always be a world-class player, but at this point his ACL might be made of tissue paper, so you can't even bank on him playing at the required levels whenever he returns. So, the club will be wise to start moving like they no longer have him. Now, just before we go to Spain, if you aren't yet subscribed to the channel, take a second to go do that right away so you never miss out on our amazing content. Done? Okay, so back in the video. First of all, every Spanish team needs to spend their winter break in England watching Premier League games. The rate at which Spanish giants have been losing to English teams is alarming. Barcelona lost to Chelsea, Real Madrid lost to both City and Liverpool, Atletico Madrid lost to Liverpool and Arsenal, Villarreal lost to Spurs, Athletic lost to Newcastle and Arsenal. All of this in one season? Nah, that's a big issue they must all address. Our advice to Spanish teams this winter: pack your bags, go to England and learn a thing or two. Figure out exactly what you're not doing right. More specifically though, Barcelona might need to figure out a way to evolve past the suicidal highline they play. Even teams they should beat comfortably sometimes manage to take something out of the game simply because of their high line. It's like they're just handing the opponents a lifeline every time, and it just doesn't make sense. It cost them a place in the Champions League final last season. They'd hate for it to cost them again this season. Real Madrid, meanwhile, need to solve their problem of a lack of control in midfield. They have a goal machine, a very scary winger, a workhorse in midfield, a ball-playing centre-back, creative right-backs, and a world-class goalkeeper. What's missing is that midfielder who can tie it all together. Alonso has tried to use Güler for that, but that's just not the type of player he is. Ceballos, on the other hand, is simply not at the required level. It's an issue they need to solve if they really want to do amazing things this season. AC Milan, meanwhile, must address their centre-forward problems. To be fair, they're already on that, having been linked to Xerxes and Füllkrug, so we expect them to actually solve it in January. Their wingers have been doing well in front of goal. If they can get a striker who will click, with one game a week, they can really mount a proper title chase in the second half of the season. Speaking of teams with just one game a week, Man United must address one very obvious issue: the stubbornness of their coach. We have no idea how they can go about this, but it's an important issue to address. Sometimes you look at the squad he has and you just think a simple 4-3-3 or 4-4-2 formation will get them much further than they have gotten. I mean, does the current setup even work? This is probably the leakiest five-man defence we've ever seen. Apart from the bottom four, Man United have conceded the second most goals in the Premier League this season. So why exactly do you have an extra defender when they can't actually stop the goals from pouring in? Go back to a four-man defence, push Bruno closer to goal, get Mainu back in the lineup, let wingers be wingers instead of giving Dorgu and Dalot that responsibility, and maybe you can actually do something great this season. And we're not even saying this must be what he does every game. It's okay for a man to stick to his principles, but in certain games and against certain opponents, flexibility will get you what you need. Even Pep Guardiola has learned this. What about Liverpool? How could we even name just one issue? They have too many, first one being the Isak issue. How can you have the top scoring striker from the previous season now looking like he's absolutely clueless? Maybe they need to take him out of the squad and give him a proper preseason so he can get up to speed. He did not have that in the summer because of the whole transfer saga, and being thrown right into the deep end has had him looking lost. They also need to find a solution to their Salah problem, and they can't afford to just paper over the cracks. It has to be a solution that doesn't cause them problems later in the season. What's that solution? Is it sacking the coach, selling Salah, terminating his contract, having a peace agreement? We don't know. All we know is that it's an issue that can't just be ignored. One more thing, the Chiesa issue needs to be addressed. He deserves to play more. He has already shown that. Now the coach just has to start giving the Italian more minutes. It's surely a better idea than an over-dependence on Gakpo on the left wing. As for PSG, we think they just need to go and do exactly what they did at this time last season. In the first half of the season, they didn't look so scary, but they came back firing in the second half of the season and blew everyone away. In the first half of this season, they've been pretty bad. So perhaps if they do the exact same thing they did last time around, they'd get the same results. And oh, a goalkeeper issue might be brewing there. Matvei Safonov's performance in the International Cup final has made it impossible to ignore him. He could be very useful in the knockout stages of the Champions League, so the coach needs to decide how to make that work. What about Spurs? Honestly, it's hard to place a finger on one issue they need to address. Sometimes it feels like they just need a change of coach, other times it feels like they need a change of mentality. But what would you advise them to do? Anyway, since Aston Villa now look like they're in a title race, we just have to talk about them. They need to address their creative issues in January. They look like they have the willpower, mentality, and the ability to go all the way this season, but they've really been performing too many miracles in front of goal. They have overperformed their XG so much this season that you fear a slump might come at some point in the season. Going by their XG, they should be nowhere near the top 4. They need to address that before it becomes an issue. They need to start creating more high-quality chances more frequently, so they're not relying on golazos or lucky goals in order to win games. It's now time to hear from you guys. What's one issue your favourite club must address this January? Tell us in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Also, turn on the bell notification so you never miss out on new content. Catch you in the next one. Bye!